This is the North Carolina Rabbit Hole. I'm Jeremy Markovich, and here are a couple of pieces of Carolina Panthers trivia that I swear to you are going to make sense. They're all connected. You will figure this out in just a moment, okay? Number one, the Carolina Panthers are playing in the Hall of Fame game for only the second time ever. The first time was their first game ever in 1995. That was 31 years ago. Okay, that's thing one. Thing two, the Carolina Panthers have had only one player ever on the cover of Madden, which, if you're not aware, is the official NFL video game that's been around for decades now. That happened back in 1995 for the cover of Madden 96, which, by the way, if you're unaware of the game, the years in these games always come out like the model years for cars. Madden 96 came out in 1995, Madden 97 came out in 1996, and so on. Okay. So that leads me to number three. Who was on the cover? What Carolina Panthers player was on the cover? Now, I will give you a hint. It's obviously not Steve Smith or Cam Newton or Jake Delhomme. It was also not Kerry Collins, Frank Reich, or Sam Mills. No, the only Carolina Panther to ever appear on the cover of Madden is Cary Brabham. Now, your question might be, who is Cary Brabham? Well, if you're wondering that, you're in luck, because I have here with me now Cary Brabham. Cary, I really appreciate you talking with me and spend a little time on your break to kind of tell me about this. And we'll get to the Madden cover in a moment, but I first just want to ask you about your football career up until that game in 1995.
I grew up in a small town in northeast Texas. I played running back in high school. I was recruited by BYU, SMU, Texas Tech, Arkansas, a bunch of teams that wanted me to either play wide receiver, safety, or linebacker. And I knew I couldn't catch, so wide receiver was not going to be my thing. So my dad was a very big Forrest Gregg fan, and Forrest Gregg was the head coach at SMU then, after coaching in the NFL with Green Bay and for Cincinnati Bengals. So I decided to go there. SMU was coming off of the death penalty, so I was a true freshman when I came to SMU. Kind of like going into Carolina Panthers, I have to be probably the only player that's ever started a new pro football team and started a new college football team. So I ended up playing 4 years. I think I made like 378 tackles in college football, broke up about 50 passes because I couldn't catch. I caught 10 of them, I believe. I ended up playing in a couple all-star games, played in the Japan Bowl. The two safeties on that Japan Bowl team was myself, and John Lynch was the other safety. So I was introduced to John Lynch on how the big-time guys could actually tackle at that time. But I never had plans to play in the NFL or even have a chance. I went to SMU for a student to go to college for free. And I don't know. I guess I was good enough. I didn't know I was good enough, but I was good enough to make the Raiders team. And then after the season with the Raiders, they had the expansion draft to the two new teams, the Carolina Panthers and the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think Carolina picked me in 11th round or something like that. We practiced in South Carolina. I can't remember the little town there south of Charlotte, but we practiced in South Carolina.
Spartanburg, yeah.
Yes, and then we played in at the Clemson Stadium the first year because they didn't even have a stadium. And we practiced in the middle of, to me, it felt like a swamp. I came into Carolina, and I think it was a lot more humid than Texas was. And man, it was a tough deal because everyone was new. No one knew each other. We were trying to establish a team, and Dom Capers was the coach then. Sam Mills was the starting linebacker then. I remember Sam very well. And back in the thing, if you got drafted in that draft, they guaranteed your salary. So you were guaranteed a salary for the year, unlike the way it is now. And I did get waived from Carolina. Green Bay brought me over to Green Bay after that. And Doug Peterson was on that team, who's a coach now. He was the backup. Kerry Collins was the first-round draft choice for Carolina that year. And I think Doug Peterson, I believe he got cut the same time I did. And we both went to Green Bay. But that's kind of it in a nutshell. I only played the Raiders wanted me, after the Green Bay season, the Raiders wanted me to go back and play in the European League. And at that point, my son was born. He's 30 years old today, so however many years that is, 30, I guess. And I decided that I was better off getting in the business world and trying to figure out that avenue, and it was probably better on my body as well.
You were not hard to find, but it was not obvious that it was you on the cover. And I will say, I first figured this out about a decade ago, and at the time, I did have a few clues here. The first thing was that Madden came out on November 30th, 1995. So the picture had to be taken before then. Obviously, what's on the cover is a Panthers player and a Jaguars player. Both teams, expansion teams in 1995. The only time those teams had ever played was that game, their first game ever, the Hall of Fame game on July 29th, 1995. Now here's where it gets a little bit tough. It's not hard to find statistics or game recaps or box scores or roster numbers from that year when you're talking about the regular season. This is a preseason game, so all of those things were a lot harder to find. So back in the day, I enlisted Darren Gant, who was a beat writer, longtime reporter who covered the Panthers. And the clue was that, both players wearing number 40. Number 40 for the Jaguars was a tight end named Gordon Lauro. He's being tackled. He only had one reception in the game in the fourth quarter. And on the other side, for the Panthers regular season roster, number 40 was worn by a cornerback named Pat Terrell. But we knew it wasn't Pat Terrell on the cover because, to be blunt, Pat is black and the Panthers player was white. So the other thing that you can kind of make out was on the back of the jersey, the letters H-A-M. So we knew that somebody with Ham in their name who wore 40 during the fourth quarter of the 1995 Hall of Fame game was our person. We eventually found what's called a flip card from that game, and that listed names and number and Cary Brabham. That is how we found your name. Okay, that is how we found out that you were on the cover. How did you find out that you were on the cover?
Well, I had a son right, about a year after that, and I think we used to play video games together when he was young, and he liked to play Madden, and I got it one day, and I took a look at it, and I go, I just started laughing. I go, I think that's me on that cover of that thing, because it was number 40 for the Carolina, playing number 40 for that. And you can see that my last name, Ham, on there. Brabham is my name, Brabham. That's kind of, I just stumbled across it with my son, playing video games with him is kind of how I stumbled across it. And then, you start getting mail from it. And I think when you called, and I periodically get 2 or 3 people have mailed me the cover to sign it every year. And I always sign it, send it back to them. So
I guess this is like one of these things where, what we think of as Madden today, the video game, like it's a very big deal to be on the cover. Like there are like reveals of it, right? Like there's like a lot of talk before the game comes out, like who's going to be on the cover, all of this stuff. But like from what you're saying in 1995, like you didn't even know. And then until years later, like it just sounds like it was not that big of a deal. Other than, I guess, when you stumble upon it and found out that, oh my gosh, that's me. That's like me on the cover of a video game.
That's right. So I think they make a big hoopla of it today, and I'm probably a lot of money changing hands. Maybe I should go back, and maybe there's some royalties out there.
Yeah, right. It's worth asking.
But then, but usually they have famous people on there, but it had been so long since there had been new expansion teams, I think, at that point, because that was 1995. And they had 2 the same year with Jacksonville Jaguars and the Carolina Panthers. So I think, that was a big deal. And then they had them playing each other as the first game of the year, which is the Hall of Fame game, preseason, whatever it is. It was still 2 brand new teams. And And I don't know, it's probably been 60 since that's even ever happened before, where they have two new teams the first year. So, but now there wasn't a production, there wasn't anything, there wasn't an unveiling, there wasn't even a contact, and I had no idea for several years later that that was on there, and to this day, I guess. I guess that's one trivia question that no one will ever get. They'll never know what my name is unless you're really into sports or from North Carolina, watching the Rabbit Hole.
Yeah, exactly. Well, if you ever, I'm sure out there, if anybody ever wants to play you a Madden, maybe you could take them up at some point in Madden '96. But I do appreciate you taking the time to talk to me about this. I'm glad you seem like you're doing well and found a life outside of football, and it's just been great talking with you.
Well, I appreciate you having me on your show, and good luck to the Carolina Panthers tonight, and go Panthers.
Yeah, go Panthers. If you like this episode and you want to see or listen to or read more stories like it, this is part of the North Carolina Rabbit Hole, which is at ncrabbithole.com. There you can sign up for the free weekly newsletter. You can learn more about kind of all the different things about North Carolina that are weird or strange or unknown. And if you really like this and you read it and want to help out, you can become a paid supporter. All of that is at ncrabbithole.com. I'm Jeremy Markovich, and thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.